Live. So welcome back, guys, to the Brewing Business Show. I'm so excited to be back here with you guys for our fourth episode. I know right now we are living through hard times and shit's just going crazy, but that doesn't mean that this virus is going to stop us from bringing you guys valuable information and content that can help you thrive during these hard times, guys. So welcome back. And today I have a special guest with me. I have Siegel. Welcome, Zach, to the Brewing Business Show, man. I'm glad that you're here today.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. It's been a while it's been almost a year since the last time we saw each other, right?
Since Vegas, turning point.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But for you guys who don't know who Zach is, he's also known as the Small Business Hero. Basically, what he does is he helps business owners to get financing to different options available for you to get access to working capital. But not only he'll help you get access to financing, but he also teaches and educates his clients when it comes to what are the best options available and to take the right decisions when it comes to getting access to financing. So he's going to be sharing with us today, guys, the best options available, how you guys can prepare during these times, because I know that there's a lot of businesses that are being affected about this virus. So he's going to teach us the best practices for you guys to make sure that you can guarantee some working capital and make sure you guys are securing your business as well. So, Zach, why you don't go ahead and share with us a little bit about your background, about who you are, so people can get to know you better, man.
Thanks, buddy. So I've been in business financing for over 2 years now, helping companies, acquire and source funding from private investors, banks, lenders, specializing in long-term monthly payment SBA loans, term loans, lines of credit that can range anywhere from 6 months to 24 months in terms of its payback. And one thing that I've seen is people are going crazy right now, scrambling for money because, the economy is basically doing a hard reset. And it's tough because not many businesses right now applying for financing are going to be generating much revenue in the months to come. So those businesses are actually finding it very difficult to obtain funding to pay their employees, to continue to turn over inventory, because there's nobody buying their inventory, right? There's nobody coming into your brewery right now, especially here in New York, where I'm from, to buy what it is that you're creating. So the best time to apply for business financing is and always has been when things are good. Now that things are not particularly as good as they were, it is a bit more difficult to get. However, there is still money out there. Banks are still open. Investors still have capital to lend to the right businesses and for the right purposes. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on credit. It depends on your time in business. It depends on your revenue historically and your predicted future revenue. It depends on your industry type. Are you a restaurant? Are you a travel company? Those companies right now are not going to be seeing much revenue coming in. So, they're finding it very difficult to obtain funds. So sorry, I know I kind of got off on a tangent there a little bit, but that's what I'm dealing with on the front line every single day.
Absolutely. And I know that you're trying to help as many business owners as you can, man. But like you were saying, the good time to get access to finances when the times are good, right? It doesn't mean that right now that we're going through some kind of recession doesn't mean that you can actually get access to it, right? So why we don't go ahead and explain this from the very beginning, more about business financing? Because when I was involved with business financing a year ago, and that, and I know that most people or most business owners, they believe that it is hard to get access to financing through banks, that they need a bunch of information they need to provide to the lenders and all that stuff. So why we don't start from the very beginning and help us change that perspective through business lending?
Gotcha. Well, It is hard, you know, and it's just, it's, you know, you got to have your financials done, a profit and loss, a balance sheet. You know, if it was easy, then everyone would do it. Everyone would open a business, and banks don't just, you know, lend their money and put it in places to die. They invest their money. So do lenders, so do private investors. So, you know, the fact of the matter is, you need to have that stuff in order, and you need to know how to report your cash flow, so that you look like a viable investment, as opposed to, you know, a business that's not going to be around. Because the fact of the matter is, most businesses don't make it past 5 years. So if your time in business is below 3 years, banks still consider you a startup. They won't lend to you unless you have at least 2 years of business tax returns filed. So that's just some things, you know, to get money from bank, you need to have your financials, profit and loss, balance sheet, have your debts in order, your accounts payables and your accounts receivables. Your business tax returns need to be filed, and you know, you need to have that stuff organized properly in order to get a really good approval. But then if you have all of that stuff organized and you work with somebody, you know, that knows how to file everything well and apply on your behalf, then you get approved for, you know, up to $500,000 unsecured right now and up to $10 million unsecured right now at super low rates, with a monthly payment, a low monthly payment. And, you know, the term ranges anywhere from 10 years to 30 years. And if you get $500,000 at 5% APR over, you know, 10 years, it's, you know, it's only costing you, what is that, $50,000 or five?
Let's do the math.
$25,000, you know,
Right.
it's not that expensive. But if you don't have your stuff in order and you go and you apply online and you go to these quick online lenders of capital, you know, and they just ask you for like 3 months of bank statements and they go based off your historical revenue, you're going to end up paying a lot of money for that loan. It's going to end up being a very expensive short-term loan that will eat into your cash flow. And while it will feel good getting the money for what you need it for initially, you if you take out one of those short-term loans, you end up regretting it a month or two into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense, man. Yeah, I think it's important to have things in order, especially for these times, you know. And I have seen a lot of business in other industries. I'm not talking only about the craft beer industry, that now they're wishing to have all those things in order, you know, because now is the time where they need to secure different things for their business or keep paying their employees, you know. So at this point,
and that's what happens. Everything's going good, and they've got, you know, hundreds of people walking through the door every single day. You know, you feel like a super hero and that nothing can hurt you. But that's the time when you want to apply for a revolving line of credit, so that when shit hits the fan, which it always undoubtedly does, at a certain point, you know, usually when things are going really well, ironically, when shit hits the fan, you want to be able to, you know, have some source, something to lean on, something to fall back on.
Absolutely. And now, well, we already know that we live in a time right now where everything is changing. Our entire lifestyle has changed for the past couple of weeks. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen here in a week, in a month. It is uncertain, right? So at this point, what is the first thing you're recommending your clients to make sure they can secure some capital? What is that next step that you recommend for them at this point in time?
Well, first off, I want to mention that we will get through this. I'm certain of it. You know, that the world is not ending. You know, this is not a zombie apocalypse. It's people are robbing and looting, and you don't need to stock up on ammo as much as you think you do. Texas, I'm sorry. I know that you probably disagree with me there. And to make sure that you're able to secure business financing, you want to make sure that you work on your personal credit and that you don't screw over any of your vendors. Because a lot of your vendors, if you don't pay them and you just try and do this thing where you just switch around from vendor to vendor and go not paying them, a lot of those vendors are going to report to the business credit bureaus that you didn't pay them, and that's going to completely ruin your chances of getting a sensible business loan that's actually going to help you. Because if you didn't pay your vendors, what's going to make the person lending you the business loan think that you're going to pay them back? Right? So your credit speaks to your credibility to repay a loan. So you want to start there. And both personal and business credit, they are two different beasts. Business credit comes into consideration when we're talking about setting up trade lines and relationships with the vendors that you use. And then personal credit, is basically not affiliated with your business. However, when applying for a business loan, both of those things are taken highly into consideration. And, right now, the big thing is SBA loans. SBA won't even look at you, regardless of whether you apply through the Emergency Disaster Relief Loan Program on their website, or you go and just apply for a traditional SBA 7A loan. Regardless of which one you do, they won't even look at you or consider your business a viable investment to loan to unless you have personal credit over 650. So if your credit is below 650, first thing you want to do is work with I've got a credit repair team, but work with somebody you trust that can help, get rid of any delinquencies, get rid of any collections, and, boost your credit. And the next thing you want to do is make sure that the stuff we were talking about before, your profit and loss and financials, your accounts receivables and accounts payables, your balance sheet, your tax, all of those things should be updated at least monthly. So you want to make sure that you're looking at your business from a top-down perspective on paper, the numbers at least monthly, because underwriters and lenders and investors, you can pitch them your story like you're on Shark Tank. They don't care. They only care about the numbers. So it's good that, you start caring about your numbers as well. You should already be doing that as a business owner. I know it's easy to get, say screw it when things are going good, but take a look at your balance sheet, take a look at your profit and loss, see what's working, see what's not working, see what's selling, see what's not selling, adjust your business accordingly. So you want to have your financials updated for you monthly, and you want to take a look at those. You want to have a credit score of over 650 or above. If you don't, then work with the credit restoration specialist that can help you. And those are basically the main things. You want to, if you're looking to get an SBA loan, they actually require that you show some sort of net profitability. You can't be operating at a loss and not paying any taxes, and then to the government, and then expecting the government to lend you money. So another thing to take note of is that if you show an increase in net profitability and an upward trending financials, balance sheet and profit and loss is trending upwards, that's another reason for the SBA to lend you money. They do like to see that. And if you have property, that greatly helps as well. So buy a home, if you own a home, then you can secure a business loan at 100 to 150% of your EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So if you don't own a home, then you're kind of going to be topped out. It used to be $350,000 unsecured through the SBA. Now they actually raised that to $500,000. But if it's secured by a home, those numbers go from 6 figures to 7 real quick. So if it's secured by a home, you can get anywhere from, that 500,000 number all the way up to 10 million now. So credit and financials, and make sure that, you pay your taxes. That's pretty much the best thing you could do to secure a business loan now. In terms of the short-term working capital loans, where you just send in the bank statements and they're, super expensive and they're short-term with either daily or weekly payments, most lenders are not even issuing those right now because they know that in the short term, most businesses are not going to be able to pay those back. So that entire market is kind of at a standstill in terms of financing. So the only thing that's really working right now are these long-term SBA loans because, we will get out of this in the long term.
I totally agree with you. We're getting out of this situation, I honestly believe that people is making this situation worse than what it really is. And like I always said, like, even that we're going through hard times, this is not a fucking excuse to stop doing your business and to keep growing and moving forward. Like, there's no excuses. Like, we keep doing the work every single day and make sure that we're going to get through this and actually make more money than ever. And I think that's the same mentality that most business should have at this point, right? Now, I know that right now, I think it was a week or 2 weeks ago when the government announced about the SBA loans and all that, all the term loans and all that kind of stuff. I know that a lot of people were going like crazy trying to apply for this. And I told too many people, like, right now it's in turn. There's not anything clear what's going on. Yeah, there's going to be help from the government and all that stuff. But wait until everything is settled down and you have the complete information to make sure you're not getting yourself into something that's going to affect you instead of helping you, right? So why don't explain us a little more about the landscape right now when it comes to SBA loans and what the government is doing to help the small businesses?
Yeah, man, no problem. The Emergency Disaster Relief Loan, EDRL, that the website is very packed with business owners. Probably over, millions and millions of people have applied through it. But it's really difficult to go through all of the prompts and know exactly how to do everything properly. If you've never applied for an SBA loan before, you will have trouble there. It's going to take you, at least 4 hours of just, figuring out where to put things through that portal. And then chances are you aren't going to get approved because the disaster relief loan program has the same requirements as the traditional SBA loan. You still need to have good credit. You still need to show some sort of net profitability. The government is not going to give away their money to, business owners that have bad business credit or that are operating at a significant loss. So, don't think that that's like a chariot that's gonna save you in your business right now, unless you come prepared. So, like I said before, please keep that in mind. The traditional SBA requirements and the emergency disaster relief loan requirements are one and the same. And unsecured, the disaster relief funding, they're only doing up to $25,000 at that interest rate if it's not secured by a property, and then up to, I think it's 2 million if it is secured by a property. So it's in your best interest to work with somebody that's going to be able to guide you through that portal, or just apply for a traditional SBA loan right now, because that portal is really backed up. I can only imagine the Small Business Administration office right now. Everybody must be, running around like crazy, not knowing what to do or how to handle the huge influx of applications. Luckily, certain banks and lenders have good relationships with them to push stuff through. And, they do their underwriting in-house before even sending it over to the SBA. But with everybody that's applying online, I can only imagine how much work they're doing right now,
Yeah, absolutely. So now that you're saying that, Also, a couple of weeks ago when I saw the news and all that stuff, there was a lot of people also offering financing. There's a lot of people offering financing for small businesses right now everywhere, you know. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that they're not the right people to work with, and unfortunately, this is the times where a lot of scammers came out of their shithole, right, and try
Yeah,
to take
and
advantage of
collection
people.
companies are shining like crazy. You know,
So
you got to watch out for that too. If you get yourself into a hole in terms of business loans, and you took out, you know, one too many, the debt collection companies that call you and say, you know, we can help you settle, or excuse me, no, I'm sorry, the debt settlement companies, not collection companies, excuse me, the ones that call you and say that they can help you settle on with those lenders, regardless of how much money you save, that's going to pretty much beat up your chances of getting approved for a business loan in the future because you ended up settling on that first one. It's pretty much, you know, it may save you some money up front, but in the long run, it's going to really mess up your credit by not by doing a debt settlement.
right. So let's say that I own a brewery, right, and I know that I need some working capital to get me through this virus bullshit, and I have everything in order. What will be the things that I need to know from the people I'm reaching out, the lender, to make sure that I'm working with the right people? What would be those specific signs that can tell me, oh, this is the right people to work with, or this is not somebody who's trying just to rip me off?
So one of the big things that you want to look for is, are they asking for minimum documentation? If they're not asking for a lot, they're just asking for like an application, some bank statements, and stuff like that, then, you know, it might be some sort of bait and switch thing. It might be some sort of rip off. However, if the person is saying that they're going to apply for an SBA loan and they're asking you for everything in terms of a debt schedule, an application, 2019 profit and loss and balance sheet up to 22920 profit and loss and balance sheet, the last 2 years of business and personal tax returns. Basically, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. But if they're asking you for everything on the front end, then it's likely that you're working with a competent individual. There are also, you know, questions that the SBA asks. I have a pretty long list of these questions. Just give me one moment.
Sure, man. I think this is really good information that you're sharing, because I think the most important thing right now, it is to protect these business owners and breweries, you know, especially the ones who are looking to apply for any type of business financing. I think it's
Yeah.
important for them to be protected and make sure that if they're ready to make that kind of decision at this point in time, they're making the right decision with the right people as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the government, you know, that when they lend you money, they want to see that you're employing people as well. So they ask you, how many W-2 employees do you have? You know, they'll ask you for detailed use of the funds. Do you rent or own your home? Because obviously, if you own a home, we can, you know, they can secure the loan and lend you much more money. They'll ask you for a detailed use of the funds. Does your business carry a general liability policy in terms of insurance or business insurance? They'll want to have you describe the history of your business. What types of products and services does it provide? How is your business unique? You know, describe the length in time in business under the current management and the management team, and the depth of the, you know, the management experience in this industry or related industry. Like, you know, does the management of the business have a lot of experience in the industry that you're in the brewing industry, whatever it may be? Has the ownership ever been changed since it was founded? How many years have you worked in this industry as an owner? How many years of management experience do you have? So there are quite a bit of rigorous questions that'll be asked. And if somebody comes up to you and they say, "Oh no, it's really, you know, it's super easy," you know, that may be a sign to throw up a, you know, that may be a red flag signal. or it should be. However, there are some alternative sources as well. You know, if you're not getting government-backed financing right now, you can still take out a personal loan with terms ranging anywhere from, you know, 2 to 5 years. You just need to have good credit, 650 or above, and have, you know, some sort of income. If you have, there's also 0% APR for 12 to 18 months on credit cards. If you stack them strategically and you apply for them strategically and you have good credit history, you can easily access up to $150,000 in unsecured credit cards at 0% APR for 12 to 18 months to weather this storm. So those are, you know, a couple of separate programs that are, you know, still viable options at this point.
Right. So now that you mentioned alternative financing, right? Let me piggyback a little bit on this because you were mentioning about personal loans or the credit card with no interest rate for 12 to 18 months, right? So at this point, what about other alternative financing? They're not working right now. They're not like MCAs or line of credits.
Well,
How's the landscape on that?
that's a great question. So a lot of short-term financing, like merchant cash advances, which are the expensive or more expensive loans that are based on just your very recent business revenue, like the last 3 months of business revenue is typically what they underwrite those at. They're not funding nearly as much. A lot of those lenders are actually closing their doors. And they're just worried about their current book of business. They're worried about their already existing clients that owe them money. What are we going to do to get these businesses that we've already funded to make sure that they follow through and pay us back what we lent them and what was agreed upon? So they're not really funding new businesses at this time. Neither are line of credit underwriters for that exact reason, because they're just worried about their existing book of business at this time. So, you know, a great time to get a line of credit would be when, as is always is, when things are going well. A good time to get an advance is for a means to an end, meaning that you're going to take some of the money and you're going to invest it in credit restoration, and along with whatever you needed the loan for initially, so that you can get into a better program to help your business, like a line of credit or like an SBA loan. So right now, those companies, they're not really issuing much in terms of new capital, unless it's like a grocery store or you know, an essential service of some sorts.
Right. Well, it's good to know, you know, because most people, I know people will probably find somebody trying to offer services like this that are not available at this point, or it's not even recommended to get into it, right?
What's that?
That is not even at this point. I mean, it's good that you share that with us right now, because at this point, it's not even recommended to even look into those options, right?
No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, probably about 95% of the online lenders that I am familiar with, and I'm familiar with most of them, all they really offer are those options. And I see this as an opportunity for those that offer more sensible options like SBA and term loans. You know, those people to come out of this with more and better clients, whereas most of the online lenders, 95% of them, all they offer are the short-term advances of cash. And a lot of them are not going to come out of this flourishing because they were very, you know, short-term minded as opposed to long-term minded and how they help their customers.
Right. That makes sense. So just to recap a little bit on the requirements for this alternative financing that is available right now, like you were saying, the personal or the credit cards, what are the requirements for this right now? For example, there's a brewery owner or any other business owner that doesn't have all the documentation for an SBA loan. What do they need to have ready right now if they want to apply for this type of financing?
That's a great question. There are a lot of business owners and brewers that don't have seller credit, you know, that are operating at a loss their first 1 or 2 years in business. So if that's the case for you, and you know, and let's say example one, you don't have stellar credit, you can get a loved one, a family member, hopefully, to assist you in applying for the 0% APR program to float you during this time. You know, all they need is to have a minimum of 680 FICO and at least a year or two of using credit responsibly, and you know, applying for or using a credit card, or you know, just paying back what it is that you borrow, and paying, you know, paying your bills, et cetera, et cetera. So they just need to have a 680 credit score or higher and a couple of years of using credit responsibly. And typically those approvals range anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to 150, depending on the credit history of the applicant. So if you don't have perfect credit, you can get a cosigner to do it for you.
Great. And that will be for both or just for the credit?
Yeah, that applies for personal loans and
Okay.
credit card stacking too. So if and a lot of people sugarcoat this stuff. They call it, you know, unsecured lines of credit. It's just strategically applying for credit cards. You know, you can liquidate those cards through a merchant processor to turn it into cash for much less of a fee than what it would cost to take out an advance of cash on the cards. But it's there's no point in dressing it up into something that it's not. It's not a business line of credit. It's, you know, it's strategically stacking credit cards.
I mean, I'm glad that you said that, you know, because like you said, and that's the point of this show, not to sugarcoat shit and actually reveal what is truth and share with people the information they need so they can make a smart decision on their business.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, and I really appreciate that you're sharing that with us right now, man. And so if there's people that would like to know more about the personal loan or the credit cards, how they can get more information about this, man, where they can reach out to you.
They can send me an email, which I'll just leave in the comments of this live. It's Zachary, ZACHARY.Siegel, SIEGEL at smallbizhero.us. And they can call me at 801-938-8533. If they prefer to speak over the phone, you could send me a direct message on Facebook. You can send a carrier pigeon to New York because you don't want to come to New York right now. Everyone's got a virus.
How's things in New York right now, man? It's like a ghost town.
Things closed. Times Square's got like 3 people walking through it at a time. It's crazy. You know, people are listening and staying in because we've got higher numbers than every other state right now. You know, we're going to be you know, kind of leading in terms of the example of you know, what's going to happen if hospitals do get an apex or a surge or a rush. You know, it's going to happen in New York first, and you know, hopefully we can do a good job at mitigating any potential losses, and we don't lose too many sensitive lives. And what I mean by sensitive is, you know, people that have a weaker immune system. You know, this virus, it doesn't worry me in terms of my own health, but you know, it worries me because of the older generation that built this fucking foundation that we have to stand on and work for and you know, make awesome. They built this country, you know, and they're susceptible to catching this virus, which is a respiratory disease, especially if they have, you know, beaten cancer. And my dad's beaten cancer 4 times, and he lives right on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It's scary. I tell him every day, I'm like, Dad, don't go outside, you know?
Right.
But other than that, though, I mean, I feel like we'll be out of this hopefully soon. I'm optimistic. I want breweries and bars and restaurants open just as bad as, you know, the business owners that are running them do. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, you're completely right, man. I mean, I made a post yesterday when I was talking a little bit about um, how many breweries and other businesses around in different cities are finding solutions and are actually crushing it in these times, you know. And it's not about the money, man. I'm not talking this, or what I'm about to say is not about the money, but um, that only tells you that there's solutions available for everybody out there, you know. Like, yeah, these are hard times. There's people that are more sensitive to get this fucking virus, and yeah, I'm not trying to I'm saying what I'm trying to say is that it is a serious problem that we have. Unfortunately, we're taking it too serious, but that
And there
doesn't
are
mean that
still
we
beer lovers
life
out
cannot stop.
there.
You know, life cannot stop right now. Work cannot stop right now. A lot of us have businesses that have to keep running, and we need to find solutions. And this is the reason why I wanted to make this show about business financing, because I know people is going to need it, even right now or right after all this madness is over. People is going to need it, and there
Mhm.
have to be options available to help each other. You know, it's not about selling shit. It's not about, hey, here, buy my shit. It's about finding solutions to provide solutions to everybody around us. You know, not only for the people that are more sensitive to get this virus, but also to everybody who owns a business, everybody who lost their job, everybody who actually needs a way to start making money right now in these times. It's possible, you know, there's options available, but that's the reason why we're doing this. And I'm thankful for you bringing this information here, man.
Yeah, no problem. You know, it's better to broadcast it to a bunch of people that can potentially listen rather than to a one-on-one business owner on the phone. So I'm constantly, you know, going through these stages of, you know, what's the best program for you um, right now, and hopefully this education helps people understand what the best program is for them. And you know, there are still beer lovers out there that, you know, want to taste your product, and I'm sure that a lot of listeners have a loyal following as well, because I know how beer drinkers are in terms of the beers that, you know, they drink, and they like a lot of local breweries. Um, you know, so think of maybe some sort of to go plan in terms of like some growlers or something where people could just pop in and grab a beer to co-enjoy at their home. Um, at at the very least, I'm trying to just be creative. You
Yeah,
know,
you know,
that's one
there's
thing.
it's all depends on the state laws. I know
Yeah.
that there's some states that they are authorizing breweries to deliver beer.
Nice.
Here in Texas, they are only allowed to do beer to go, and there's solutions available. You know, there's people in the government, I think, or every state is trying to work with as many businesses as they can. But I mean, other than that, man, it's just keep praying and keep pushing forward, and we're gonna get out of this situation. But man, I
Yeah.
think it's time to start wrapping this up. I just want to ask you one more question, man. What would be a good advice you can give to this our listeners, you know, to my audience and the people who watch this right now or even in the future, especially if they're looking for some um, financing or find alternatives to keep their business open? What would be the good advice or the best thing they can do at this point when it comes to financing?
That's a great question. The best thing you could do at this point would be to self-reflect. Look, I know that selling growlers and doing delivery, that's not going to get you nearly the volume that you were experiencing before this thing. You know, I know that it's nothing in comparison. I understand that. So what you're going to want to do is take a look at your overhead. Was I spending too much money on rent, on, you know, certain research and development for certain brews? Take a look at where your expenses were going, because you're obviously going to need to take those down a ton. Take a look at your online presence and you know, enhance that if it needs enhancing, so that people can find you easier. And when it comes to financing, take a look at your credit, because, you know, without good credit, it's going to be extremely difficult to get business financing in the future. And if you need credit restoration, just you know, let me or somebody else that you trust know, so that, you know, when this is over or during these times, you can get access to capital, because, you know, a lot of hospitality industries, whether it be brewery or a restaurant or a bar, they deal with a lot of cash. And just keep in mind that, you know, credit is very important to help you in bad times.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I think you truly share with us a lot of valuable information. I'm really grateful for that, man. I hope this information can help somebody out there in this group, with the people watching this on YouTube later or listening to the podcast. I hope this information can help you guys. And if you need anything, we're going to be adding a link to the description of this episode where you guys can reach out to Zach if you have any questions, or if you'd like to apply for some financing, or if you guys need to look for somebody to help you repair your credit. There's going to be a link in the description so you guys can sign up, request a free consultation, and make sure you guys are getting all the information you need to move forward with whatever it is that you guys need. But other than that, thank you so much, man, for taking the time of being here and sharing this with this audience. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem, brother.
Yeah, stay safe, and hopefully next time we get on a live, it's not going to be about talking about the virus. You know, maybe we can have another conversation or provide with more resources that can be more beneficial as well, not only in times of need. So I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys for watching in, and stay tuned because next, I'm not going to say it right now, but we got a special guest for next week, and you guys don't want to miss that episode. But make sure you rewatch the other videos, or if you are watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast, make sure you watch the previous episode. There's a ton of information there that can help you right now. And I appreciate everyone watching or listening to this, and I will see you guys this week. Later. Cheers. What's going on, guys? Thank you for watching. This show was brought to you by the Marketing Brewing Company. And if you know somebody out there who can benefit from all this information, make sure you share this episode on your Facebook, on your Instagram, your LinkedIn, send it by text, email, whatever you got to do to spread the word and help us reach more people. Now, if you're a brewery owner who's ready to grow and scale your business, make sure you go to the link in the description. That's marketingbrewingcall.com. Enter your information. That way, one of my team members can reach out to you, hear more about your business, about your story, and find a way to help you grow and scale your business and take your brewery to the next level. And also, guys, if you have some suggestions, if you would like to see some special guests in the future, you can also send your suggestions to pedro@marketingbrewingcall.com. I would love to read any suggestions you may have, because the goal and the purpose of this show is to equip you guys with resources, tools, and information that can help you grow and scale your business, but also that can help you do better things in your lives. So I hope you guys are enjoying this show. Make sure you share it with everybody, and I will see you guys on the next episode. In the meantime, cheers and have a great day.